Good evening.
How are we?
Brilliant.
Excellent, mate. How are you?
I'm all right.
Awesome.
Welcome to Facing the Crowd, Mike.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's so good to have you on. It's been a long time coming.
It really has, hasn't it? We've been planning about trying to arrange it for years.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? You just come from a fucking rehearsal or something? What's going on?
Yeah, it's my rehearsal room. So
right on.
Yeah. We use it as a studio for the podcast as well. So
very wise.
Doubling up, no extra fees.
Doubling up. Hey, that's the recession, man. Everybody's on the make.
Exactly that.
So, Mike, I'm Perks, and this is Hobo. Or
hello, sir.
Lee and Sam, as we're known to our family.
I was going to say those some fucking rap singer handles you got going there.
I've always been known as it because it's the name of my band, you see. So the band's called Hobo. So when we were trying to think up clever names for the podcast, that's just what got thrown out there.
He was like, I'm not going to be
band was Hobo?
We're kind of sludgy, southern kind of down, corrosion of conformity, that kind of stuff, really.
Sounds fucking great.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm pleased you approve. So how you doing? You had a good day?
Yeah, it's been all right. I've caught the sun a bit too much, as you might be able to tell.
We're called
Come
Facing
on, do your worst. Make me as fucking profound as possible here, because I don't do interviews. I haven't done one. I put my last album out about 2 years ago and didn't do a single interview, as I recall.
Really?
I didn't have a press agent. I decided to not bother because it's just you pay a press agent to go around emailing everybody they know saying, hey, do you want to interview Mike Vennart? And they go, who? No, I don't know. And it's fine. I got nothing much to say. So unless you've got really good questions, this is going to be really boring.
Mate, it won't be boring because we've got good questions. I'm sure of it.
I've seen you on YouTube, Mike, and you were an absolute great crack on there. Some of them podcasts you did.
Okay.
Yeah, mate.
All right. Fucking hit me up. What do you got?
All right. So I first became aware of your talents. I saw you. I think it was at the Forum. I don't even know what year it was, but you were supporting the Sisters of Mercy.
Oh my God!
Do you remember that?
I do.
I think you only had. I think Oceansize only had 2 EPs out because, well, that's all that.
Yeah, we did. I think we put an EP, a second EP out. You know, like, fuck, man. That was an eventful situation, right? Because we just got signed, and we thought getting signed meant, here we go, we're going to start getting the gigs now, where we've got all this clout behind us, and the only tour we could get was supporting the Sisters of Mercy, which, you know, I guess they're kind of in and out of fashion in a way. You know, they kind of something that they've never been as popular or as cool as The Cure in that sort of realm, but exactly. If you're into that kind of thing, I guess they're. I mean, anyway, fuck it, whatever. We, oh God, we spent all day at the first gig, and it's one of the biggest gigs we'd ever played. You know, we're really excited, and we're waiting to sound check, and all our gear's on the stage, and their crew are just kind of getting high. You know, just hanging out and thinking, well, you know, we're not gonna. We didn't want to exert our authority because who the fuck are we? And suddenly the doors are open, and it's like, oh well, we've not sound checked, and it's like, yeah, no, you won't be doing that. So we fucking walk on stage, absolutely bricking it, and before I've even picked my guitar up, there's people throwing fucking lit cigs at us, booing. Because you were smoking them days in the venue, you know, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be fucking good," and yeah. Anyway,
was it froze?
Something's gone wrong. Shouldn't have done.
Mike, it's froze.
Hello, mate. Hello. We've got no idea what happened there. Something went wrong with the internet.
Just lost connection with you. Just froze.
Sorry, anyway.
Apology. No, we want to hear the story. We were loving it. So
no sound checks. This is a mercy.
Let's go. People were flicking cigarettes at you. I wasn't one of them.
I couldn't tell if you'd frozen or not. It was like, I thought you were just hanging on my every word.
we were.
And then I was like, wait a minute.
All of a sudden you were like this, Mike.
Yeah.
I thought, no, he's really thinking about this. This is like mega detail.
Yeah, anyway, it was great. The crowd went wild, and the Sisters of Mercy. Well, they set the fire alarm off every single night without fail because
Really?
they do this thing, which I actually think is fucking awesome, where you can't actually see the band at all.
Yeah, it's just dry ice, isn't it?
Dry ice and occasional silhouette, a bit of someone's hair, and it's fabulous. I fucking thought it was great. Really
I'll tell you what, because obviously like the internet and that wasn't a big thing back then. And obviously I didn't know you guys were, but I bought both EPs that night. I've still got them. But
Awesome.
obviously I'd gone to see the sisters and I didn't even know what they looked like, just because I just didn't, like I say, the internet wasn't a thing. And I was expecting like Andrew Eldritch to come out like with like a black cape on or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he came out and he had like, I think he had like a hockey top on or something. And he was all
Yeah,
like,
he did,
with, like
yeah.
bleach hair or something. And I was like, this isn't what I expected.
No,
And
I loved it. Apparently, he had form for like, going on stage in fucking Hawaiian shirts and all that, just to piss us off. And it was mad because they were such a big deal. They had the same front row every single night. It was like people coming over from Brazil and fuck knows where else to come and see them. It's like, hats off to them, man. It's like they've not put a record out since fucking the 90s or something, mid-90s or something. So it's like, and they're still doing it now.
Yeah. Half the set's still filled with like the new kind of techno-y stuff, isn't it? And then these still sometimes they'll go into like some of the hits as well. But,
too, man. Like it's hard to. There's not a whole lot of influential. In fact, I said this to Eldritch. I was like, "Are you the only fucking good band to come out of Leeds?" Because at the time there was nothing. He went, "No, Gang of Four."
Gang of Four.
That was after he bollocked me for calling him Andy, and he was like, Andrew.
He didn't like that. He didn't like that, no. Andy.
But no, he was good to us. He's got like he has got a reputation, but he was sound with us. He's a very considered. He's very intense, But he was fine with us. He was great.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
He might just be the only person I've ever met that got into us off the back of seeing us with the Sisters of Mercy, though.
I was in the front row. I didn't flick cigarettes.
Wow.
I apologise for not flicking them, but no, it was amazing.
You reached someone.
Yeah,
it was him.
Yeah, like it's just just the music just hit me straight away. I just loved it from the word go. Fantastic stuff.
Crazy days.
Yeah, man. So what was like what was the first like gig you played like as an artist? Was that with Oceansize or was that with someone else or?
I was in a band when I was 13. I got headhunted. I was 15, 16. I can't remember. Basically, I'd done work experience at a guitar shop in Leeds. And a week later, these guys who had been signed to RCA Records and just done all these festivals around Europe, they were looking for a guitar player. So this old dude working in a guitar shop where I'd just been working, he was like, I know a guy. He's only fucking 13, but he can play like fuck. So, and back in those, I mean, I was a bit of a shredder. That's my sort of metal, musical education is all based around shredding and metal and fucking all that stuff. So yeah, I ended up joining a band with guys. When I was 13, they were like 27, which was an absolute age at that point. So I quickly, assumed this fucking role. And I was a really young 13-year-old. I didn't have fucking pubes till I was 15. So it's like I'm just this fucking tiny boy. And it was magic. So that was it. I did a gig at Bradford Rio's. I don't know.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Do you know who I saw there?
Go
on. Black Label Society.
Right. That's on a similar tip. I saw Jakey Lee play there. Do you know Jakey Lee?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Ozzy's guitar. Well, one of his guitars.
So another Aussie guitar player.
Yeah.
And after the gig,
funny.
I got to shake his hand. I touched Jakey Lee, which is a big deal to me to this day.
Amazing.
Because he's pretty much my favourite Aussie guitar player. I can't stand Zach Wilde, I have to say.
You're not a fan?
Oof, no, too many false harmonics, man.
Oh, mate.
Too much chorus on the fucking distortion.
He's a bit of a show off, isn't he? He's a bit of a show, but I love him.
You know what? I'm a sucker for that happened to me when I was 15 or 16 or something, and to this day I'm still a fucker for just going up. You know, if I see somebody in an airport or something, I'll just have to be like, I'm really sorry. Just fucking touch me and give me some of that magic. Fucking absolutely love what you do. That's all. See you. Bye. You know, I'm more of a fan than anything else, to be honest. And
mate,
it still happens.
Well, we've chatted about music before, and you know, like everything that comes out, and you're obviously very much a muser. I'm completely into music, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's all I'm interested in. I don't, I don't watch much telly, and I'm a terrible reader. I think I need to get checked out for ADHD because I try to read a lot, but I just it just don't go in.
What about music biographies? Does that?
Oh yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
anyway,
I think I struggle with fiction as much as anything.
Right. Yeah. No, it's fair enough. I mean, it's if it's not something that really interests you, then
no. I want to be able to read, but I struggle. I don't know why. I need to get my fucking self checked out for sure.
So you're 15, 16, and you're in this band. What were they called? Did you tell us what they were called?
They were called Crosstown.
Oh, nice.
And it was the drummer's band, and they were. He wanted to be in Van Halen,
right?
And so that was fine. And then we finally found a fucking singer, and then we broke up after one gig at Bradford Rios.
Right.
I guess a couple of years later. Oh, fuck off! I've just turned you off. A couple of years later went to Salford University, and they reformed behind my back with my mate on vocals.
No,
on you go, lads. But no, it was fine. It was like, it's pretty cheesy. It's pretty awful, but it was good fun. It was, especially in those days when, you got the chance to show off your chops a little bit, And it was when I went to uni that I had to kind of unlearn a lot of what I'd learned because I'd got into Pavement and Radiohead and things like that, where scruffy playing was actually a little more enticing,
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to go back the other way because I've got no fucking technique anymore,
Oh, yeah. We've all seen you play. Come on. We know what you can do.
I actually saw you at the 2017 Glastonbury.
Oh yeah, what was that like?
Yeah.
Oh my God, with Biffy?
Yeah, the whole set. And then I left straight after that because I think it was Ed Sheeran. I didn't want to see it.
No.
But yeah,
I've got very few words to say about that because it was fucking. We used to go to Glastonbury a lot when we were sort of teenagers, early, all the way through our 20s. We used to go to Glastonbury. Come fucking rain or shine, we'd be there, and you know how it is. It's that period in your life where you can only take ecstasy in that period. You can only fall in love in that period. Really, it's like it's a magical fucking charge of magic and energy in Glastonbury. It takes a lot of shit from people who haven't fucking been.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a magical, wonderful place, and it's fucking mellow, and I love it. So yeah, to actually fucking be on that stage, and to look out and go, imagining the spots where I've stood and I've watched fucking the Flaming Lips or I don't know, Radiohead. Who have I seen on that fucking stage? Every fucking Roger Waters. It was just like, this is it. This is fucking it. And I just got incredibly hyper. And to a large extent, those are the moments where you're like, well, this is it now. I have done it. Other than headlining this gig. I mean, I'm not playing my music, but it still means the same to me because...
Yeah.
Because, well, I fucking love Biffy's.
Oh, you're up there, haven't it? I mean, at one point, the drummer stood up, didn't he, and went, "We just kicked your ass, Glastonbury." And I was like, yeah, you did.
And you know what?
It was well good set.
It feels like, Glastonbury's finally getting its sort of heavy mojo back. They had Napalm Death playing that year.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I'm not banging on about it, but I actually, because I love metal, and I saw the Earache stage, and I was like, we're going to see that. Me and my brother went up on the Thursday, and we saw that at sunset, Napalm Death. We even saw Sex Pistols guitarist in a tube carriage, the Earache tube carriage.
No way.
Which was because that stage where Napalm played was like well far out. It was like miles from where we put our tent.
Yeah, I've never been up there.
Yeah, it's quite cool up there. It's kind of weird, but so we saw Napalm on the Thursday, and then we saw obviously the Foo Fighters, and then we saw you, and we actually, because it was dry, we saw about 11 different bands.
Well, that's it, you know.
You get around
for the most part with Glastonbury. People fucking lose their shit if the lineup isn't to their taste, but I've been and barely seen a single fucking band and had the time of my life.
I'm the same. The first time I went, I spent most of it in this one particular tea tent, just getting stoned. And I still come away like after like 6 days, like that was the greatest experience ever.
It's magical. And you know, like I say, I've probably been about fucking 10, 15 times or something, but like every time I go, it's bigger. And it's a little bit different here and there. You know, the core of it is the same. Yeah. There's different avenues to go off. But yeah, that Napalm Death set is something that I still watch to this day. I put it on in the tour bus the other day because it's all on YouTube. And I'm like, this is fucking as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. That's actually what turned me on to Napalm Death. I knew Napalm Death back in the 80s because they were pretty much the most extreme thing that you could ever fucking hear. And then... but I found it a little bit like, it didn't really move me. And I kept checking in on them, like, it was cool, But that set just made me go, I'm gonna fucking start paying attention to their new material.
It was good.
It's just
I think at one point Barney he just went mental. I think he sung Scum or whatever, and he went, lyric sheets are available online. everyone started cracking up.
This year we just played Donnington a couple of weeks back, and I wasn't the day before was Maiden were playing. I'm a fucking huge Iron Maiden fan, but I was like, no, I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm not gonna go down. I'm gonna get a good fucking rest and be bright and fresh for this gig because it's a big gig. It's important. It matters. And then I woke up on the Saturday morning and realized that fucking Napalm Death were playing like a couple of hours before Maiden. I was like, right, how do I get there? How am I going to do this? Fucking flew down there on the crew bus just in time to see Napalm Death play 3 songs, 2 of which were You Suffer, which is a second long.
How does that work?
They just played You Suffer twice. I was like, oh, fuck. But I got to see them do Nazi Punks Fuck Off, and it was just like, no, they're incredible. You know, just... To me, they're like a real fucking benchmark of just as extreme and as experimental as metal can be in a lot of ways. You know, there's other bands that are maybe more technical and more far out, like I don't know, what was that fucking? I can't remember the name. But no, I've heard me and Simon, basically me and Simon from Biffy, our relationship, much of it is you send each other the most fucked up music imaginable. And to me, Napalm are just fucking absolute pioneers to me, and it's incredible stuff. I can't imagine ever working out how the fuck to play any of it. It's absolutely marvelous.
So, talking about like the heavy crazy shit. So, Empire State Bastard. Talk us through it. What's going on with that?
Right, I'll have to be careful about what I can and can't tell you. The record's in the bag. But the backstory is that basically when I started playing for Biffy in 2010, a lot of people were, well, me and Simon just hatched this fucking, he'd had this name, Empire State Bastard, since forever. And in those days, we were doing a lot more party and a lot more staying up till fucking 7 o'clock in the morning in the back of the tour bus, getting absolutely wrecked. And it's, you know, you put two musicians together long enough, they'll form a fucking band. So that was it. Eventually, so over the years, it basically became, I was trying to write something, but I wasn't inspired. And for a while there, me and metal kind of fell out of love with each other. I don't know, I just kind of lost my mojo in that respect a little bit. And then in 2018, I had quite a major run-in with the far right of this country. I went and picked a fight with its Queen Bee, and it went quite badly. Now, I quite enjoyed it because it's all sport to me. I don't really give a fuck. They don't scare me, but it did cause quite a kerfuffle in my family at that point. My son was scared stiff.
Right. Oh no.
What's this, an online thing?
Well, you know that guy, he calls himself Tommy Robinson. So I accosted him, quite the worse for wear, having had a very heavy night the night before. And he filmed me on Facebook Live, and I was a little inarticulate at the time, shall we say. Not the proudest moment, but I know why I did it, and I'd do it again.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to do, so fuck it. Anyway, nevertheless, I stand by what I said. But the situation and the oppressive and visceral and fucking very, very real nature of the response from the far right of this country. People were coming at me in their thousands.
God, no way.
Really?
They were like within an hour of this video happening, they were accosting my mother, my wife. Anybody that had tagged me on Facebook was getting it in the neck. And so I just had all these people going, what have you done? What's happened? What the fuck is this?
Jesus.
So I was pretty angry. And I was more angry because I was kind of advised to keep my head down, get off social media. Because Biffy were getting it in the neck as well, you know. There were calls for me to be fired from every fucking single job I've got. I've got a few. So I was angry as fucking all hell, and it was like, right, I'm gonna make a fucking hardcore album. I'm gonna make a grindcore album. I'm gonna make a thrash metal album, so fucking heavy and so poisonous. So I wrote 2 songs really fast and sent them to Simon. I was like, isn't this what that Empire State Bastard thing was supposed to sound like? And he was like, what the fuck is this? What have you done? So I wrote a load more, and we turned it into a record.
Oh my God,
that's exciting.
There's a little bit more. There's another element to this story that's even bigger and better, but I ain't telling you what it is.
No, fair play, mate. Some things have to stay under wraps, all right?
But the record's in the bag. It'll come out soon through a label. I don't know fucking any more than that at this point, but it's really
just email the demo to Hobo. We'll be all right.
So going back to, like, obviously we've asked you like the first sort of gig you played. What was like the first band you sort of, like, big band you kind of saw live, like your first kind of gig?
The first gig
as a punter
I ever saw was my mum and dad took primarily my brother, who was 4 years older than me, to see Status Quo on their farewell tour in 1984.
Right. Oh wow.
At Bridlington Spa. It was their farewell tour. Coincidentally, I went to see their farewell tour again in fucking 2014.
Yeah, I went to that one.
We saw them down the cliffs, didn't we, in Southend?
Yeah.
God, it's a long farewell.
Well, they used to play at the cliffs in Southend like every year, so I used to go like every year.
The people were doing the crow lines, weren't they? They're all doing a standard line, doing the crow line.
A lot of people were always sort of like quick to mock them, but like some of their early stuff was like incredible. Like what a group of musicians.
70s Quo is absolutely incredible, and I put them up there. To me, they're like Queens of the Stone Age or something. You know, it's just that Queens are fucking they've got more distortion and they're detuned, but it's the same shit. It's when I saw Queens of the Stone Age, it's like, this is just a pub rock band. and Quo, they're kind of like a fucking boogie rock band, but there's all these time changes and all that bullshit about, there's only 3 chords. That's just a fucking running joke. But it's like, there's the arrangements, the melodies, the riffs, the fucking groove. They're so loose. They're always on the fucking edge of their capabilities, you know.
Oh yeah.
Fucking awesome, man. No, I mean specifically the 70s stuff is so fucking rocking. You know, it's real as fuck.
Yeah, totally.
I actually got fucking asked to join Status Quo, believe it or not.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what? When?
When Rick Parfitt, well, just before he died, he had to
Right.
bow out of a tour.
Yeah.
Was it then? And so they got someone else. Before they got this lad in, they were like, the drummer is a big Oceansize fan.
Right. As are a lot of people.
Well, I know. Well, not enough. It would appear.
Bastards.
And so yeah, he just got on to me going, look, I know that you're busy with Biffy, but I've got to ask you. And I was like, I can't do it. I mean,
mate.
I know. That's the weirdest thing. Rick Parfitt is pretty much the reason I picked up a guitar. You know?
Yeah. So it was that gig where you were like, "This is what I want to do."
What, the
like,
Quo? Oh yeah,
like,
I mean, I'd been watching Quo on telly, you know, before that, and that was it. I tell you what made me want to. I don't know. At that point, I was like guitar. I didn't play, but I just like music, rock and roll, fucking guitar. And then watching Quo were on at Live Aid. I watched it on the telly, and then later on there was Black Sabbath reformed with Ozzy, and that was it. That was fucking it. From then on, I was like, I want more of this Ozzy guy. Got into Ozzy, and then Black Sabbath. So when I was 7, I got like a box set of the first 6 Black Sabbath albums. That was it.
Wow. I mean, it's
to this day,
great place to start.
I still fucking like. I just listen to those Sabbath records just all the fucking time.
Yeah,
they're so
unbeatable.
rich. They're so authentic. Again, it's that real fucking loose groove thing. There's so many mistakes left in them.
Yeah,
they're not perfect by any stretch, but you know, it's like that old thing of like my favorite jeans have got fucking holes in them. You know,
yeah, exactly that.
So fucking loose. There's no click track there. You know, it's
no.
Fucking grooving, man.
Yeah, and I suppose like everything was just recorded live back then, right? So that was just the way it was done.
Yeah. No, I can't get enough of it, and it's fair to say that in one way or another that has shaped everything. That set me up for life, and it's something that I just keep going back to. And I nearly broke Oceansize up before we got signed, even because Mark, the drummer, he knew how much I love Sabbath, and he said, Black Sabbath are irrelevant. You need to fucking stop listening to them. And I was like, guitar down. I was like, where do we go with this? What am I going to do now? I was like, you fucking love Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, fucking even Meshuggah, you know? It's like, there wouldn't be anything. There would be fucking nothing without Black Sabbath. Nothing was here,
man.
Anyway.
Oh, God. I wasn't supposed to be. He's touring. He's confirmed it, isn't he? That he's touring again.
Well, Ozzy.
He's got another album out, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got an album coming out. Well, he's about to, I think. It's not out yet.
No,
you don't think he'll tour? He had an operation a few weeks ago, didn't he?
It's not going to happen.
Patient number 9 or something, isn't it?
I hope it, you know what? I'm being a twat. I hope it does, because if it does, I'm going to go. I absolutely love him. You know, it's like the thing is with Ozzy is ultimately he's a clown, and he's been sold as such for the last fucking 30 years or whatever. His first 3 solo albums are absolutely fantastic.
Oh, they are.
But as much as anything, those first 6 Black Sabbath albums, some of the greatest singing ever fucking recorded, the most incredible, authentic, and soulful vocals I've ever heard, and nobody sounds like him.
No.
My friend Carver's from
Apart
Cardiac,
from Zach Wild.
Fuck Zach Wild. Always says, well, if you listen to the song Black Sabbath, Ozzy sounds kind of like terrified and terrifying all at the same time. You know, it's just this sort of weakness and strength at the same time, and his sort of inexpert approach is what makes it so fucking unique, you know. Fucking incredible.
Oh, completely. Absolute legend, isn't he?
Talking about the Birmingham NEC, and I made great effort to get there, because this is a boring story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. My mum had bought me a ticket to go see Black Sabbath. I was like, what? She was like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, I want a fucking ticket to go see Black Sabbath. It's their last ever show at fucking Birmingham NEC ever, 1999. And there was 2 days they were doing. And I went to go and get on the bus. It was one of those ticket and travel things. And there was nobody there. And I realized when I looked at the ticket, it was for the night before.
No.
And I was fucking like, you've got to understand how
beside myself. Oh my God.
So I managed to wangle it that I got a ticket for that night and got my mum to drive me. And I was literally in row Z of the fucking Birmingham NEC at the very, very back. Got in just as their intro tape started. It was like, fuck, here we go, Black Sabbath, let's go. Brought in a load of pre-rolled spliffs, I remember as well. Anyway, they did a few songs, and Ozzy goes, come on, everybody, it's the last ever fucking Black Sabbath show. And everybody's like, yes, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And then he goes, well, so they say. And I was like, you fucking cunt. Like, people have flown from all over the world to be at that gig, and it's just a blag. It's like, we ought to do you for fucking false advertising.
So many bands do it, don't they?
I went to one at the O2 a few years ago. Must have been 5 years ago. Black Sabbath's last ever gig at the O2 in London.
I mean, it probably is now, to be fair.
Well, to be fair, Bill Ward wasn't there.
Exactly. No Ward, no Sabbath man.
No,
yeah, it wasn't there that time. But yeah, no, the Aussies. We've seen Ozzy. I've seen Ozzy solo with Zach. You know,
I saw him in 1987 at the Birmingham NEC. Am I that much older than you? Really?
No, I'm
87 now.
44.
I mean, that's.
He's older than me.
No, he was 89. 89. There you go.
Oh, didn't you see when I listened to that other podcast? Didn't you see Iron Maiden at Donnington 88?
I did.
He was a kid.
I did.
Oh, that must have been amazing.
When I was talking about the other day, I went to Donnington to watch him again because I'd woke up and I saw Napalm Death were playing, and I was like, man, fucking Maiden are playing Donnington. In all likelihood, they'll never do this again. You know, like Nico McBrain's fucking 70 or whatever. It's like, you have to go. You know, that because, you know, I was 12 years old when I saw him at Donnington 88. And it's like, the things that fucking were magical to me then are still magical to me now. You know, they still mean the same thing. And I was like, I have to fucking do it. So I went down and managed to get myself. I was walking around while Maiden were playing, trying to get a good view. It was a bit tough because it was really busy, and I ended up finding myself in the exact same area that I was in when I was watching them when I was a kid with my mum. And it was dark. I'd had a few beers, and I just sort of shut my eyes, and I just was able to just sort of connect and go, yeah, this is exactly what it was fucking like. It was like this. And I was there. I was still there. Like, and I still felt the same. I remember walking away from that gig in 1988 and saying to my mum, that was the best day of my life. And in all honesty, sometimes it feels like it still is. Because I'm like, it's the benchmark. And everything that I've done ever since has been informed by that, because that's all it ever wanted. And, you know, at the same time, I was trying to avoid the thought, it's like, I hope you're enjoying this. That's going to be you up there tomorrow. You know, it's like, fuck, no, don't think about that. Don't think about that, you know. It was fucking magic. And I actually got to meet them beforehand. The week before we actually played in Finland, we were on directly before Maiden. And Steve Harris watched us, Adrian Smith watched us, and fucking Nico McBrain watched us. And it was just...
Were you terrified?
I've just never played so hard in my fucking life. I came, like, the next day I woke up feeling like I'd been in a fight or like I'd been run over or something.
Oh
it was
God.
like, this is happening. Your fucking heroes are watching you play.
Iron Maiden actually watching you do a set.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking mental, isn't it?
And they like Steve Harris watched the whole set.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Like freaking out, man.
God,
The Maiden are still brilliant, aren't they? When they play,
They are.
So they haven't dropped a bar whatsoever, have they?
No.
No.
Just as good.
No, 100%, yeah.
Incredible.
And what did you think of like the Blaze stuff, man? Because we've had him on the podcast. He's a lovely guy.
Hey, you know what? the 90s were a fucking, like I say, I fell out of love with metal for the most part. So once Faith No More broke up, I just went in a more, just sort of more psychedelic, weird stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then it weren't, when Maiden reformed, I started going to see them for a nostalgic reason, and then didn't start appreciating them on a fully cerebral level again until fucking Matter of Life and Death and all that. Yeah. But the Blaze stuff, I didn't dig it. But I listened to Blaze's solo album a few months back, his latest one.
Yeah,
it's fucking amazing.
You've got it, haven't you?
I've got a CD of it.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant. It's really underrated. And, you know, you've got to hand it to him, apart from all the Maiden stuff where he's, you know, he's been given a fucking poison chalice, and it's like, deal with this impossible scene, you know?
Yeah.
His solo stuff is great.
Yeah, he's got a massive following. He really has. He gets around, and he gigs a lot, doesn't he? And he's always, you know, about the fans, isn't he? Plays.
Well, this is it. And you know what? It didn't sound like Maiden, as I recall, either. It just sounded like he was doing his fucking own thing, and it was up there. I was like, fair fucks to him, you know? Solid rock album, innit? Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. So Oceansize. So you played Sonisphere, right? What did you think of that as a festival?
2009, will it be?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 2009.
Yeah,
I believe it. Was it the first ever Sonisphere?
Was there only one? Or
was it Metallica, wasn't it? Headlining.
Metallica. I remember it being 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, Machine.
That's right. Yeah, they were on. Yeah, they were over there. Yeah. They
was it Machine Head as well?
Machine Head played. Yeah.
I remember having some high grade ecstasy, watching 9 Inch Nails come on in the broad daylight. It was really sunny, and they came on with a sort of quiet, brooding piano instrumental, and then proceeded to play pretty much nothing but quiet, brooding piano.
I know. I was really shocked by the set list that day. I remember that quite vividly. I was like,
I fucking loved it. I mean,
it was great.
I was really high at the time, but I just loved that. You know, here we are, a metal festival, and everybody's trying to out fucking heavy each other, and they just come on and go, "We're not playing that game. Try it. Just listen." You know, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
The whole setup, just walking from one stage to the next.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
it was the band ends, you just shuffle over there, and the band starts.
Yeah, exactly. Just enough. Although that did backfire the other day. I played a festival with Biffy, and it was festival in Stockholm. And like Lorde was on one stage, and she had a pretty small audience for being such a huge pop star. On this stage here, it's just fucking 10,000 people waiting for Pearl Jam to come on, facing an empty stage, facing away from Lorde. It was like,
oh wow,
oh god, this is not fucking working out great.
That must be that must be quite hard to like to be that artist looking out.
Exactly. Imagine performing to a huge audience who are looking the other way.
Yeah, never thought about that. That didn't really happen at Sonisphere, did it?
I think maybe the stages were just far enough away.
We camped for the whole weekend at Sonisphere, and it was the first year that everybody started taking those fucking laughing gas capsules.
Oh yeah.
So we went armed with 1 million of them, and we had a caravan as well, so we were very comfy.
What was it like playing though? Were you on the same stage as Amplifier? I can't remember.
I don't think did Amplifier. No, Amplifier didn't play that. We would have been with Amplifier if they'd have played it. So
I'm sure they did, because I've only ever seen them once. You know,
no, it weren't that year.
It might have been 2011.
Yeah, it could have been.
But no, it was grand. Oceansize famously didn't get booked to play festivals. You know, we'd by some fucking miracle played V Festival in 2006, which was fine. It was great, in fact, because it pissed it down. If you're playing in a tent, the best thing you can hope for is that it fucking rains, because you've got a captive audience.
Of course.
But yeah, Sonisphere, I just remember the weather being great. We had a full tent when it went down great.
Amazing.
That's about as much as that. But you know, look, ultimately, if you ask me, what was this gig like in Oceansize, it'll be either it went great, or something broke, or the drummer was off his fucking head. And so we fucked it. Those are my three things. You know,
Oh,
or
it's a shame.
occasionally it'll be like best gig we ever played.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's only a few of them.
It's hard, isn't
I think just remembered about that Sonosphere. That's the one where I got up on that truck and done Enter Sandman karaoke.
Oh, yeah.
There was this karaoke truck, and I just got up there and was hammered.
Many beers.
That was a long time.
Yeah,
ago,
I've got to get into karaoke. My missus really likes it, but I've never partaken, but she swears by it. So
you have to.
But you
drunk.
can sing.
You
Why
have
wouldn't
to
you
be
do
drunk.
it? You can sing.
I don't know. I think apparently, you know, that's kind of the catch, is that nobody wants to see somebody who can sing doing karaoke.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. You want to see some fucking guy called Fred completely fuck something up, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. But you
He's
know,
so hammered.
I'd love to. It'd be my one reason to perform Iron Maiden or something in a pub, you know, and I could give that a good go.
Yeah,
that'd be well cool.
Yeah,
You could do it now.
You said that Metallica song
this
was
is
one
only
of
my
the best.
second one. I've not got any more after that.
So yeah, just going back to the Biffy thing. I mean, obviously you've played like every fucking festival now, right? I mean, and just like headlined everywhere. I mean, what's like the standout gig? What's like your favorite Biffy gig? Because I've seen, you know, I was at the Wembley thing that got released. I was at the Unplugged thing, which was obviously very different at the Roundhouse. I was there for that. I've seen Biffy quite a few times. Is there any particular show that like really stands out?
This sounds really stupid, but to be honest, most nights I have a real moment. Because ultimately, I'm struggling to give you the conviction behind this, but I think it's true. If you're playing to 500 people who are going fucking bananas, it's much the same feeling as playing to fucking 80,000 people who are going bananas.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. But you know, that Glastonbury show you referred to previously was a moment of like, this is fucking real. This is, it will never get any better than this. So, and I'm really good. I am a bit over sentimental, and I can always really cherish the moment, because I get a lot of opportunities during any given Biffy set to just soak it in for a minute. I don't play on every bit of every song. I don't sing all the time. So I do get a lot of opportunities to just, especially if you're outdoors in a quieter moment, to just feel the breeze, just fucking give you a little chill, and you go, all right, no, this is, I'm actually here. This is really happening. Given the nature of Biffy's material, it lends itself to feel in the moment. It's all incredibly emotional for the most part. Some of it's, you know, patently ridiculous. And that's that entices me in a much different way. But yeah, we did three in 2014. We did 3 nights at the Barrowlands in Glasgow, where it was like playing different albums, different nights kind of thing. And I got to play a bunch of songs from Vertigo of Bliss, which is, well, at the time it was one of my favorite Biffy albums, and it still is. But I think their last 3 albums have just been so fucking psychedelic and weird that it's really, it puts the old stuff, you know, in the fucking ground to me. In a way, it's like it ticks a lot of the same boxes. It's just a lot more colorful now.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, when you hear the fans just like literally like arguing, like saying like anything past whatever is shit and all this. It's like, it's not, you know,
true. I've been that guy about certain bands, and it's like, oh, get the fuck over it. We've all got our shit hot takes, you know, but it's like, you know, there's certain artists where I'm like, oh, fucking hell, last 2 albums have been shit. I really should do more stuff like the old stuff. It's like, well, they've done the old stuff.
Yeah.
You went to see that show 100 times. You had your fucking fun. Now they're doing something else.
Yeah.
Move on, you know? And especially with something like Biffy, as they're 1,000,000 times more popular. It's like, no, go back to being really unpopular.
Yeah, why would anybody do that?
Fucking like it, will they? Anyway,
it's crazy.
It's fine. It's something that comes up quite a lot, I think, but increasingly less. You know, for a while there's all these different tiers of Biffy fandom. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
those Barrowlands gigs, it was like they'd exhumed all these old songs from the first 3 albums, and people were just losing their fucking shit because it was like, we never thought we'd get to hear these songs again. Really obscure stuff. They went deep with the B-sides, and it was fucking magic. It was absolutely amazing. But yeah, you know, Donnington the other day, again, because, you know, I'd been to Donnington as a kid. This was the second time we'd headlined. The first time was great. I had a fucking amazing time. But this time it felt for real. It felt fucking... It was a much bigger crowd. It was... You know, it was a proper fucking gig. And there was this weird moment when we walked off. I was just like in my own fucking zone, carrying Simon's tequila, just having a few fucking belts, going, yes. And as we walked off, this young lad just shouted for Simon just outside the dressing room compound. And Simon's there all sweating like fuck, you know, in his dressing gown. And he just went over and had photos with this tiny wee boy. And I just loved the fact that it's like, that would have been fucking me, but this kid's even younger. Just imagine Collar and Iron Maiden after they've played fucking Donnington, and you get your photo. And that was it. I just fucking fell apart. I just started fucking crying. Oh,
wow.
Like, this,
just
you know,
the emotion of it.
It was just all this full circle kind of thing. I was like, it was magic. It's fucking magic. So that, yeah, Donnington was great. And you know, there's a lot. The Donnington crowd is pretty hard to please, because it doesn't matter who you are. It don't matter who's headlining. Oh fucking hell! It's either no, not them again, or they're not fucking big enough. You know. Oh god, you know.
There's only a certain amount of bands around, rock bands, metal bands around today that are big enough to even do that, right?
Well, that's why Monsters of Rock Festival died in the 90s, because it's like, well, nobody wants to see Kiss, AC/DC, and Iron Maiden all the fucking time.
No, that's right.
You know, that was it. So soon they'll all be fucking dead. So you've got to get somebody else in, man. You know.
So true. I mean, where can you see it all going? Who's coming up? Who's up and coming?
They try and
you're asking the wrong fucking dude. The thing
fair,
is, we download. You know, look, I had a great time playing it. I had a great time. Go to see Napalm Death, and I made in there. I don't know a single other band on the bill. Korn were on before us. I know Korn. I don't know a single other band.
No, it's fair enough, isn't it?
You know, in terms of metal and all that, I don't. For years and years, it was like we used to play this festival. We did this festival in Australia called Soundwave, and that really encapsulated the moment where I went, I'm fucking done with metal. It was just fucking 50 shades of double kick drums and fucking mesa boogies, twin vocalists singing about fucking just, you know, family issues. Like, fuck off. You know, I'm not gonna sit and preach about what metal should be about, but it just felt like it didn't mean anything anymore. It was all the same. And we were like, and it's only when I sort of started getting into more, I call it tantric metal, like, you know, like fucking Sleep and Sun and just more neutrality and more emphasis on the riff rather than the proficiency, that sort of golden fucking element that is the perfect fifth. That's what metal is fucking based on, is a fucking loud, distorted perfect fifth. And when you boil it down to its purest essence, that's what you need to be ramming home, and that's what all the best bands have done to me. I love technical proficiency. I went to see Mayhem the other day, and it was fucking transcendental. They were absolutely out of this world. They blew my fucking mind. But at the same time, I went to Roadburn Festival, and that's where I really got my mojo back for fucking weird metal. You know, artistic metal, for want of a better word. It was all these different kinds of bands, but they all had one thing in common. It wasn't whiny. You know, metal became too whiny. You know, it doesn't need to be like that. You know, it's the kind of, I love Nirvana like as much as anybody else, but it's when metal tried to fucking incorporate that teenage angst thing into it.
The scene was so saturated, wasn't it? And every band just started to sound the same.
Oh, it's fucking bollocks, man. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. So let's talk about your last solo album, because obviously we were going to chat to you just after that came out.
Right, okay. Is it that long ago?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, and it's a fantastic album. We both still listen to it.
I got the nature vinyl.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, right, the eco vinyl.
Yeah.
Nice one, man.
I was lucky enough to get that.
I don't own a record player, so I didn't get the vinyl, but I did get the lovely book thing, which is cool. So yeah, I mean, you got so many good reviews on that album, and rightly so. So, you know, that must have been great sort of hearing that.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't pay for a plugger or anything, and it was a surprise record. I didn't do any fucking rollout. I ended up having to do a week-long, a 5-day rollout, because one Sunday I got a text from Dan Carter at Radio 1. He was like, I'm going to play that song tonight. And I was like, holy fuck, right, okay, I've got to tell everyone I've got an album coming out on Friday. And it still hadn't been mastered at that point. It was still being fucking done. It's a strange one, honest to God, because that was me kind of clearing the decks, and it was lockdown, which we've agreed to not talk about, but it was lockdown. I didn't have any money coming in. I was like, I need to get a record out fucking pronto. So I just went through every Logic project that I had, every session, bounced everything out, and found a couple of songs. So like what became Elemental, Morning on the Range, and something else. Super Sleuth. They were all things that had just been sat there and I'd never finished. It's my fucking suspected ADHD, where I just keep starting things and going, that's fucking great, and then I don't know what to do with it, and I just forget all about it. So yeah, I just fucking finished a load of things, started a load of new things. And when I was getting it mastered, I was like, it's good. It's not as good as the last album. I thought it was a good sort of 7 out of 10. But I was like, fuck it, I just got to get something out. And everybody fucking went nuts over it. Even like, because I post these things I use Oceansize as social media, and they usually ignore my stuff quite a bit, because it's a bit, I guess the previous 2 albums were a bit too different to Oceansize. I thought it was much the same shit, but apparently not. And for this album, they just went fucking crazy. I guess it's because it's mainly riffy. Again, it's got fucking big distorted fifths in it, and people...
You can't listen to Super Sleuth without wanting to shake your fucking booty. I mean, that riff is insane.
No, I'm proud of that one.
It's so good. God, when I first heard that song, I was like, this might be one of the greatest songs ever.
Thanks,
I'm down right now.
I wrote that. It's quite a tricky riff, right? So I wrote that in a hotel room somewhere with Biffy. I can't remember where it was, but I was drunk. I had a guitar in my room, and because I was drunk, I could feel the riff, I could hear the riff, but I couldn't play it. And as I got drunker and drunker, the harder
easier.
it came. And I was like, I've got to fucking get this down, because there's no way I'm going to remember it in the morning. I managed to get it, and then just kept coming back to it. It was called That Fucking Riff, the session. I was like, I've got to work this out. And anyway, programmed a beat to do another section, then glued it onto the riff and went, oh God, no, they're fucking one swung and one straight. Like, instead of being a shuffle, and then I was like, oh God, how the fuck am I going to do this? So I had to write another bit to just glue it together. Like, okay, that fucking works. And I'm really glad it's a total sort of pace change. It's bits that don't fucking belong together, but it works nice, you know.
Oh, the whole album is, you know, the way it flows and everything. You obviously pay a lot of attention to the order and all that kind of stuff. You know, I know you say that you didn't think at the time it was as good as your album before, but I think you're wrong. But
no, you know, I get it now.
I like all three, so
I'm really proud that like people have said that it's like literally the best thing I've ever done. Everything I'm ever going to do is going to be compared to the old band, and I'm all right with that. You know, it's like there was some incredible fucking characters and musicianship in that old band, and I feel tremendously lucky to have done it. You know, I feel like as the years go on, there's just more and more interest in Oceansize, and we're going to be reissuing the second 2 albums soon because we get the rights back, so we'll put them out again.
Cool.
But like remastering them and that, or you?
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, maybe there'll be a bunch of extras. I get same talking about what I was on about before, where there's just loads of material that I don't finish. That last Oceansize album was the fucking worst for that. We built our own studio, so we were making a new song every day. There was so much fucking stuff, and then I'd try and sing on it and go, I can't do it. I've got nothing. This sucks. So the song was dead because I couldn't finish it. I couldn't. It's one of those things, you know, you can play all day, you can put all these cool ideas down with all these amazing players, but until the fucking singer can get his shit together to put something over it to do it justice, it ain't a fucking song. And I couldn't do it. There was another song that made it onto the album called Oscar Acceptance Speech, where I was like, this is a fucking incredible piece of music that Stephen Hodgson, the bass player, had written the whole thing. And I loved it. We all loved it. But every time I tried to sing on it, I was like, this fucking sucks. I've got nothing here, lads. So Steve DeRose and Gambler literally sat down and composed a melody to go over the top. And I just wrote the words to that. And you can hear it, you know, but it's a melody that I would never, ever come up with. So yeah, that was a hard record to make in some respects, because it's one of them things where you're like, well, what now? And but everything was made by a fucking committee. You all had to argue about absolutely everything that you did.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it was completely collaborative band.
Yeah, there was no. Well, I always say it's the fucking Tom York quote where it's like, we operate like the UN, like the United Nations, but I'm America. You know, so it's like I will do what I think is right, and that's why certain songs didn't get finished, because I just didn't know what the fuck to do with them. But yeah, it was very much a collaborative experience, and that's why it was so fucking good. A lot of the good ideas came from Mark, the drummer, because he would just have beats all the time that he insisted you fucking try and play to, and often he'd be frustrated because you couldn't come up with something that was in his head, and he didn't play guitar or anything like that. So it was like, do you mean this? Do you mean that? And he's like, no! So it was fucking really hard work. But, you know, let's say, for the most part, he had fucking really good ideas, you know.
So do you think is it something that you would ever go and revisit?
What, Reform?
Yeah. Is that anything that's ever been on the cards?
There's been talk of it. Art Tangent are always offering large sums of money.
Well, you're perfect for that thing. Perfect.
Not large enough.
No, it's fair enough, isn't it, at the end of the day? What was your favourite Oceansize album?
Either the second one, Everyone Into Position, or the third one, Frames.
Yeah.
They're both quite different. Again, when we were mixing and mastering Frame, when we were making Frame.
So you were saying Frames, when
we were making Frames, it was a really, really organic period, because we had this guy in the band, Stephen Hodgson, had joined on bass, and he brought with him a very different energy. So we stopped kind of writing on screen, and we were just jamming all the time. So we had all these really fucking long songs, and there was no way anything was going to be a single or anything like that. And we were like, you know, gave it to the record company, like, sorry. But it was only, I thought, you know, well, we're so different now. We're not as good as we used to be. You know, I was a bit despondent about it. And then again, when we were mixing it and mastering it, I was like, you know what? This is fucking brilliant. This is so, nobody fucking does this. With Oceansize, I think I always had a bit of fucking weird identity complex. I didn't know what we were supposed to be. And then in the end, I kind of embraced that. But again, embracing it, the last album, I think all the songs are fucking brilliant. But I don't know if it's an album, you know.
Right.
Again,
That's an interesting way to look at it.
It's my fault as much as anything. So I was like, fuck it, you know, like it's like the White Album. There's loads of different kinds of fucking ideas on there. They don't necessarily all have to fit together. Fuck it, just, you know.
No, I suppose not.
Yeah, but sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I don't know. It's a good album. All the songs are great, but the last record, it just kind of don't hang together as well as it should. But yeah, Frames is it's quite an undertaking, a lot of complexity, but again, it was all put together very organically. It was all played live.
Right.
Well.
Amazing. It's, you know, I mean, you guys must have been so tight to be able to play that live, you know.
What we always used to do before we'd book we booked the studio once we'd got everything to a point where we thought it was going to be good, and then we'd play 4 or 5 gigs and play nothing but the new stuff, and then from the 5th gig we'd drive directly to the studio and record the album, and we'd be fucking on fire by that point.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely fucking nailed.
That's an interesting way of doing it. Just having like live warm-ups, 4 or 5 times, and then just record.
I mean, we did that on the second album, but that none of that is live. None of that. Well, a couple of tracks stayed. It was basically that we did all the drums at one place and then decamped to our mate's basement studio and did the rest of it there. In 5 or 6 weeks, we did that whole album. And honestly, when we gave it to the guy to mix it, he was like, "How long did you fucking make this in?" I mean, like 5, 6 weeks. He's like, "It sounds like you've been doing this for fucking years. There's so much shit in here, you know." And he was the guy that like fucking makes albums with Coldplay and stuff. And we'd just been banging it out on our shitty little fucking iBook, you know.
That's amazing, isn't it? You know, just hearing like I mean, as with regards to recording, do you prefer like the kind of like more kind of the live tracks, or do you prefer sort of layering things?
It's much the same. I think that I don't have a preference, you know. I guess the way that I am now, my taste does sort of veer towards more the live guitar thing, and we were very much a live guitar band at that point.
Yeah.
John, the guy who'd left the band, the bass player, was also the programming guy, so he would be making these program demos of electronic stuff. When he left, we didn't really do any of that, so there's nothing like that on Frames, really.
Right. And also talking about Frames, I read something the other day that Robin Fink did the artwork. Robin Fink from Guns N' Roses and 9 Inch Nails, obviously.
Nails, yeah.
How did that come about?
Literally, we needed something. I just happened to chance upon his website where he had all his artwork on.
Right.
And I just fucking loved it. And I showed it to everybody and I went, yeah. And, you know, at that point, we'd really struggled with artwork because the first album had been such an incredible piece and concept. Again, from Mark. Mark wanted, for the first album, he wanted it to be, he came up with the idea of like, let's just send a lot of shit through a wind tunnel and photograph that. We couldn't do that. So it's jets of ink going through directional flow of water. And that worked out just incredible. You know, that is not my department. I don't know about any of that shit. And Mark came up with that. It was amazing. The next EP, Music for Nurses EP, just ended up being a black piece of shit cover because we couldn't think of anything. And then Frames was looking like that was going to be a red piece of shit cover with nothing on because nobody could think of anything. And I just found Robin's stuff. And now Robin Fink, you know, me and Gambler went to see, and John Ellis at the time, John Ellis, the bass player, went to see 9 Inch Nails when we were like 17 at Manchester Academy, 1994. And we fucking, you know, they blew the fucking place apart. It was just punishing. And we always loved Robin Fink. It was like that fucking way that guy plays guitar. It really informed the way Gambler plays, you know. So yeah, anyway, I get to email Robin Fink and say, hey, can we do this? And he was so fucking decent about it. He paid, this is what I'm told by our management. Anyway, he paid for like lawyers and all the rest of it, to all these contracts to be drawn up so that we could use it on t-shirts and fucking album covers, posters, anything we wanted, and it was all fine. It was like, you don't need to do that. You can just tell us, and it's fine. But he wanted to do it all properly, and he really got paid peanuts for it, I'd imagine, because everything was done on a piece of shit budget. Anyway, so strangely enough, 2013, me and Gambler are playing for Biffy, and Nine Inch Nails are supporting us. Like, hey.
That's insane.
And Robin's playing guitar. So
my God.
We finally meet him, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely wonderful for about an hour.
Did you talk about, obviously you must have talked about that album art.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I'd remained in contact with him via email, but then it all kicked off because Trent Reznor took umbrage with Biffy. He had some elaborate fucking production for Leeds and Reading, which we were headlining. They were on before us.
Yeah.
And there wasn't enough room on the stage to do it because Biffy's production was in the way of their production. And he went absolutely fucking spasmodic about it. It's a long time ago now, and I like to think that, he's thawed over it. I'm sure he has. We've all matured, but it was awkward because me and Robin had to kind of pretend to not be friends because the thing between Biffy and Nine Inch Nails was fucking mental, man.
Oh,
and
really?
it was incredibly not disappointing as such, but just electrifying for me and Gambler. It was like, wow, Nine Inch Nails want to fucking kill us, man. Our hero, and he really was. I'd brought a fucking vinyl copy of the Downward Spiral to get signed. I was like, this is my fucking moment. I get to fucking meet Trent Reznor and say, give me some of that magic. And it didn't fucking happen at all.
Oh, what a shame.
And he said, move your smoke machine.
No. I saw them on the Fragile tour, and I think it was Brixton Academy, and I've never seen anything like it. Like at one point, he like ran to the front of the stage, and I remember him having this black Les Paul, and he just threw it into the crowd as hard as he could. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm expecting people to go past like on a stretcher. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it felt like somebody was going to get fucking hurt at that gig.
Yeah, that was crazy.
At the Manchester show, he threw Robin into the crowd.
Insane.
Carnage, man.
God, great live band though, eh?
Yeah, we went to see them recently at the Apollo, and they came on with Somewhat Damaged from the Fragile. They'd filled the place with fucking smoke. You couldn't see a damn thing. And he just came on his own. And when the first drop happened, Steve DeRose was sat next to me, and he literally jumped out of his seat going, fuck me! It was like so loud, and just this abrupt fucking drop with just strobes just bleaching your fucking eyes out. You're like, ah! I can't handle this, man. It was amazing. Really amazing.
So you like all the new stuff and like everything they've done, like the Bad Witch and all that kind of stuff.
Check it out. I guess for the most part, I prefer. They did a couple of those Ghosts instrumental records. Years ago. I thought they were fantastic. I kind of prefer more of that, to be honest. But the live show, it was cathartic as fuck. They really brought. Everybody's got a reason to be fucking angry at the moment. Especially in this country, in every fucking country, everything's terrible. And to see a band like that, just because, like, no, for the most part, we're just gonna make an abrasive fucking noise, for an hour and a half, and it was like, this is fucking great.
From like being a kid, like I had a VHS of them playing Woodstock when they were just covered in mud. Do you remember that? Yeah. I think it had Primus on and Nine Inch Nails on it, and I played that until there was no tape left, and absolutely, just over and over. It was just amazing.
Again, you'd never seen anything like that in those days. Like, it's the closest thing to like the fucking Alice Cooper show or something for the 90s. Just like, this guy's a fucking mentalist.
So
it's all about Broken and Fixed for me.
Yeah, great EPs.
Yeah.
And I actually said this to Red Method on the last one, didn't I?
Yeah.
Broken and Fixed EPs.
Oh, they were
Downward
fantastic.
Spiral. Just listen to them to death.
Have you ever
Downward
seen?
Spiral's so incredibly sort of abstract. Like, you know, apart from everything having distortion on it, just everything's a bit out of tune. You've got all these weird percussive things, like loads and loads of just shitty things, and just hitting things with sticks.
Machines.
Together.
The sounds of machines moving around.
Yeah, like the start of Reptile, that all that shit going on. I love it though. I love it.
And like some of it just sounds like it's been recorded on a fucking cassette from 1972. It's just
Probably was.
It sounds fucking awful, but it's amazing.
Reptile for me, that was literally that song was like everything. Oh,
When they used to play March of the Pigs down Club Art.
oh
Do you remember
god,
that?
yeah, good
He used
times.
to kick the shit out of you, didn't he, that song? It's just nothing better. Can I ask you a proper weird question that we ask everyone?
Right.
It's not sexual.
No, we will never ask that. If you want to answer it, you've only got one song to send out to the universe, and I know there's new pictures of the universe now, so there's a hell of a lot of galaxies that are gonna hear this one song. Your submission,
Any artist
from Earth.
I think I know what you're going to say.
You're never gonna think
It's
that.
in my head.
It's Dirty Boy by the Cardiacs.
Oh no, it wasn't what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think I was going
I
to say?
thought you were going to say Dope Smoker.
I mean, yeah, I should. Just because, well, everybody needs to hear Dope Smoker. No, Dirty Boy by Cardiacs is like a fucking transmission from another planet anyway. It just, God, how can I explain it? It's about sort of 8 minutes long, and it's like a constantly evolving cadence of key change that never resolves. It goes round and round and round. It's hard to follow. It's hard to spot any kind of discernible pattern in it. And you probably don't even spot the pattern until you've been listening to it about 25 times. It sounds like absolutely nothing else that's ever been written. It's both incredibly heartbreaking, incredibly celebratory, incredibly heavy, and fucking relentlessly loud. It just goes up and up and up. It's it's just fucking electrifying. It's a song that I listened to an awful lot for about 20 years, and now I put it on very sparingly because I don't want to waste its magic. But when I do, it makes me feel a way that no other song does. It's so powerful. It's just so powerful.
We'll have to play that in the car on the way home.
Yeah. So that's what
loud.
you're sending that out into space. That is,
Yeah, it's called
like
Dirty
that.
Boy. It's by Cardiacs. There's
Awesome.
nothing like it. Wait till you get to that end section, and yeah, it'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
looking forward to checking that out. I know we've spoke before, and you've told me to check out the Cardiacs, and
Yeah, I mean, like,
I've
you know,
listened to bits and pieces.
they're a hard band to click with, but once you get it, and once you bond with it, you'll struggle to give a fuck about anyone else because they'll just take over your life for fucking years. Yeah.
When you played it to me, I said, "This is weed smoking music," didn't I?
You did.
That's what I said, because I would have loved that back in the day.
It's certainly music to empty a party to. I've done that plenty of times.
So listen, I've got one more question for you, Mike, before we let you get on with your evening.
Okay.
Straight off the bat, what is your best and funniest tour story? Doesn't matter who it's with, what band, when you've been laughing so hard because something so ridiculous has happened.
Oh god.
We've had a few. We had a guy from the Wild Arts who threw himself. What did he do? He threw himself through the scanner at an airport and went through the scanner.
You've interviewed John Poole?
No. We interviewed CJ.
That was John Poole who did that, man.
Yeah.
He's talking out of his ass.
No, he was telling us about it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He told us the story about him going through it.
Yeah,
Well, John
in Japan.
Poole used to be in Cardiacs.
Right.
Oh, really?
And he's on Dirty Boy. He's on that song. Anyway.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've got nothing to top that. Funniest fucking thing. Come on, Mike.
I forgot about that until you mentioned it. That was funny, wasn't it?
That was a good story. So much happens on tour.
Come on, man. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened?
Or just the weirdest.
Just any.
You must have had some crazy like fan shit as well, like people asking for weird stuff.
No, I've never had anything like that. I mean, it doesn't get any weirder than the drummer showing up on fucking acid. But, I don't know what else I've got really. I've probably told this story before, but we played one night in. This is I was talking about when you go out, where we used to go out in Oceansize and play 5 gigs and then go into the studio. Well, the first night, just playing new material. The first night was at Carlisle Brickyard and we played to fucking nobody. And we jumped in the van. We got trousered on fucking Jägermeister. We were all a big Jägermeister phase at that. Drove to. We were meant to be driving to a travel lodge, but we couldn't get in. And I remember, like I say, we were all drunk as hell. But Steve DeRose was fucking having a go at us all, going, just fucking let us in the travel lodge. Just unlock the fucking door. And we were like, Steve, we can't get in, man. It's fucking locked. And he went, right, fuck all you lot. See you in Stoke. And goes and gets back in the van. We're not playing Stoke the next day. We're playing fucking Southampton. It's like, anyway, we can't get in. So we all go get back in the van. And we get driven to our respective houses because we're only in Knutsford. So it's like, fuck it, let's just go home. All get dropped off at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Steve's wrecked. He can't get back into his flat because his flatmate's left the fucking key in the door. So he just sleeps on the landing off his fucking head. We all get picked up at like 11. We've got to drive to Southampton. We get about halfway there and the fucking van breaks down. So somehow we managed to pull into this like side road where we're suddenly in a barn. And we're like, we can't fucking, we're ringing the management. And we're like, we're fucked. We're not going to get to this gig. This van's absolutely fucked. And they're like, oh, ringing us back. And we can't get a van. So we just start getting pissed. We've got a few cans in the fridge, like, on we go. And then they send this fucking van to us. The promoter is insisting that the gig's going to happen. So he sends a van from Southampton, picks us up. We get there just as the support band is fucking saying thank you and good night. We're like, oh my God, I've had a few spliffs with fucking cans. We're like, oh my God, right, fucking here we go. We are going to do this. And you know, it wasn't a fucking van. It wasn't a band van. It was just a fucking van. So we've just been like spread eagle on top of all these fucking amps all the way there. Load it on and play an absolute fucking blinder. It was brilliant. We smashed it.
Oh, well, that's good.
So that's about the funniest Oceansize story I've got. To be honest, Oceansize wasn't a fun band to be in for the most part. It really fucking wasn't. So that's one of the few fun stories I've got.
Hard work.
It's like you say, you either had absolute blinders or absolute nightmares.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
It was, yeah. If a gig went okay, I probably don't remember it. I don't know if that's depressing or not. It's like, because they were very few and far between.
Oh, thanks, Mike. You've been amazing. What a great evening we've had listening to you.
Oh, mate, and just chatting about music and just shooting all that shit, man. It's been brilliant.
Thanks for having me, man. Nobody else wants me. I just don't do them. That's why
mate, we'll do it again.
I'm so ill prepared, you know, because I just don't do them. I don't do it.
It was worth the wait, my friend.
100%.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Cheers, Mike. Take care.
Bye,
mate. Bye.